Rob Zombie's Halloween remake released over Labor Day weekend in August of 2007, and to this day it still holds the record for the highest gross for that time period of $30 million. And even though the hottest part of the summer isn't really when I'd want to go check out a Halloween movie, there's no argument against it being a financial hit with its $80 million total take. So like any movie that makes a lot of money, Malik Akkad started working on getting a sequel made, and even though you'd assume Rob Zombie would immediately sign on, that wasn't the case. It's no secret that shooting Halloween was a frustrating experience for Zombie, especially because he wasn't allowed to deviate from the 1978 classic as much as he wanted to. He even told Variety, "I was so bummed out, but I took a long break, made a record, and I got excited again. Now we'll be hauling ass," and that's the problem making a movie called Halloween. If you come out on November 1st or after, nobody cares. If it was called anything else, I'd be fine. The fact that they shot this movie the year it came out makes it so much weirder that they didn't want to shoot for an October release date over an August one. I don't understand why they picked August. Anyways, it kept the same budget as the 2007 remake of $15 million and released almost 2 years later to the day, but this time things didn't go as well. At the end of its theatrical run, Halloween 2 pulled in just about half what Rob Zombie's Halloween did, and that's including money Dimension made when they re-released it on October 30th later in the year. Critics hated it, fans were pretty split on it, and it managed to stop the Halloween franchise in its tracks for almost a decade. There are a few factors for this, but I think the key difference this time around was that Malik Akkad trusted Zombie as a filmmaker and basically gave him permission to do whatever he wanted with the sequel. Even though it's called Halloween 2, for the most part, this is a completely original story, and that's why I'm so excited to dig into it with you guys today. Just like Halloween, Halloween 2 starts with a quote that sets the tone for what we're about to see. The concept of a white horse is one of the most contentious aspects to this movie, but the descriptor we see here actually makes it a pretty good label for Michael, if you ask me. Dagford shows up a couple times in the trailer for Halloween 2, so it must have been confusing for people when the second scene in the movie shows a new kid playing Michael, and he looks completely different. Zombie obviously wanted Furch back, but by the time they started shooting, he looked a little too old for the part, so he had to be recast. I think one of the big things that didn't translate very well in Halloween was Michael's relationship with his mother. It was clear to me that he felt close to her, but most of the screen time they shared had a negative tone to it. In this one though, Zombie definitely wants us to understand that their relationship was Michael's only emotional lighthouse, and he goes heavy on the symbolism by having Sherry Moon give Michael a toy white horse as he tells her about a dream he had the night before with a white horse in it. However, this character shift is just the tip of the iceberg for this movie. Rob Zombie made the choice to not lean on John Carpenter's score at all for this movie. I think honestly the only track from the original movie that plays is the iconic theme at the very end, and I think this was a smart decision. The soundtrack he has for this movie is a little dated, but I think it fits his brutal tone better, and it lets us know that this is his movie. After the flashback scene, we pick up immediately after Laurie brains Michael with Loomis's gun. She's walking down the street covered in blood, and Brackett finds her and takes her to the hospital. Scout Taylor Compton hams it up a bit with her performance as she's being rolled into the hospital, but I think she's right to wonder if she's gonna live through this after the beating she took just a few minutes earlier. The scene where she's being operated on is nothing short of brilliant. I mentioned this about the new Halloween in my review, but letting us see the aftermath of an encounter with Michael Myers is a great way to show us how brutal he actually is. I mean, look at her. She's missing a part of her finger, she's got a gash cut through her cheek, she's got chunks of glass sticking out of her, and maybe even a compound fracture. The shot of her fingernail getting pulled out is absolutely horrific as well. I love it. Michael gets loaded into another ambulance, and the EMTs have a nice, long, awkward conversation about having sex with a corpse. Instead of waking up and laying the beat down on these idiots, they hit a cow that's crossing the road. That's all Michael needed though, and he walks out, still masked up, and cuts off Richard Brake's head with a piece of glass. The practical effects on display here are insanely good. Laurie wakes up, walks around, and this happens. I don't really get what the point was here. If she turned around and her eye was hanging out from the socket or something, that would have been shocking, but it looks like Michael just slashed her down the face with a knife. The rest of her death scene is comical. You don't actually see the knife going in and out of her, but the sound effects make it seem like he's punching her with a knife. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time we get to see Michael use a fire axe in the franchise, and even though it's not his iconic butcher's knife, just thinking about the damage he could do with it gives me chills. It's not too long before we get to see him use it too, and I gotta say, it's pretty sick. Michael's mask is pretty messed up after what he went through earlier in the night, and while I like the battle damaged look, his hair is awful. I don't know if it's because he has a middle part or what, but he looks like a Spirit Halloween prop to me. Laurie wakes up and we realize the entire thing was an extremely cinematic dream, and it's been 2 years since the worst night of her life. I actually think this dream sequence works. It's a good callback to the original Halloween 2, and it does a good job introducing people to characters they might need to know if they haven't seen the original movie. Since her parents were killed, Laurie moved in with Annie and Sheriff Brackett. Right out of the gate, it's clear that she's been spiraling for the last 2 years, and any connection to the 1978 Laurie Strode is gone. She's got dreads, she's all in black, she's dropping F-bombs left and right. Zombie went with the idea that the emotional trauma makes people lose their shit. He wanted the same mental illness that Michael has to affect Laurie, but manifest in a different way. The problem here is the idea that trauma breeds psychosis. It's a played out and immature take on the subject, and it anchors Michael to his humanity, which at this point should be thrown out the window. He's been shot multiple times, stabbed in the neck, and shot in the brain. Whether Zombie wants to admit it or not, Michael's transcended to supernatural being status. It shouldn't come as any surprise that Loomis is another character who's completely different in Halloween 2. He's totally sold out after the events 2 years prior, and he's an eccentric celebrity selling the story of Michael Myers. Since Linda's dead and Annie's face reminds Laurie of Michael coming after her, she has 2 new goth friends who suck. They just suck. And like the original, we have Annie, and Annie, but this time they're over-the-top maniacs. Great.
Let me make things nice and sparkling clear. Michael Myers is fucking dead. Now, do you brain-dead gossip mongers want me to spell that out for you? D-E-A-D!
I miss the old Dr. Loomis. I really like this scene where Michael's mom tells him that Halloween is coming and he needs to finish what he started. Having him speak through the child version of himself is a cool twist on the character, but doesn't it essentially make him Jason Voorhees? He's a tool for his mom's spirit going after teenagers, and like we established earlier, he's definitely immortal. Where was he supposed to be all this time though? Just wandering around growing a beard? This whole scene is beautifully lit and framed really well, but it doesn't really make any sense. Where the hell has he been? At least there's a dog. I bet he'll make it to the end. Brackett has way more screen time in Halloween 2, and I really like it a lot. It was cool of him to take Laurie in after her parents were killed, and the relationship between them all is nice to see while it lasts.
Well, I think it's a mistake.
Oh yeah, you do you?
Yes.
Well, when I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you. Here, now take that and go sit in the car. Go on, get your ass in there.
Jesus, man, take it down a notch. Rob Zombie is totally obsessed with creating this psychic link between Michael and Laurie, and this scene is crazy. Jamie Lloyd dressed up as a clown and stabbed her mom in Halloween 4, and now we have Laurie dressing up as a clown and dreaming that she's gonna slit Jamie Lloyd's throat. I know it's not Jamie Lloyd, but it's hard not to see her as Jamie Lloyd. Anyways, she continues to be all over the place after that. She's breaking down in public, and she's becoming addicted to her medication. I get where she's coming from, but man, it's just so over the top.
Well, weren't you horrified when the news broke that Michael's body went missing?
No, not really. How you can lose a body, transporting it from A to B.
Why's he got to do Brackett dirty like that? The first place Michael goes when he's back in Haddonfield is the Rabbit and Red Lounge. Thematically, it makes a lot of sense because it's something that goes against his pure white image of his mom, and it's a source of pain for both of their lives. We eventually get some pretty good kills too, but Zombie just loves to chew the fat with the dialogue in this movie. Almost every character encounters Michael talks way too much instead of posting up against Big Mikey. Do you guys think she's dead? Zombie shot this movie in Georgia because of the tax breaks they'd get, and I think it works. The exterior shots look like fall to the point that I think it lives up to Halloween 4. There's no palm trees, no ferns, no goddamn mountains, and a bunch of leaves on the ground. It's all I could really ask for. You know, I just have to say, I wish there were Halloween parties like this. I'm from the Midwest, and I've never even heard of anything at the level of the amazing Halloween parties that are in these movies. Like, look at this guy. He's awesome. I want to hang out with this guy. Holy shit, Dr. Wolfula is about to score. Or not. I love the digital shake on this shot though. Something this movie does a lot better than Halloween is that it spreads its kills evenly over the 2-hour runtime. Now yes, some of them do feel a little wedged in, like especially the one in front of the pickup truck, but Michael Myers needs victims and the pacing is a lot better in this movie because of it. Something I would change though is that there are way too many neck snap kills. It feels like they shot a bunch of kill scenes but stopped halfway through and then just put necksnap.wave over the file. I really wasn't prepared to see Danielle Harris die on screen in a Halloween movie. It just makes me feel so sad. I know she's not playing Jamie, but honestly she may as well be, and it's such a tragic send-off for one of my favorite characters in horror. Why did Michael have to strip her naked though? I don't get this obsession Rob Zombie has with showing us Danielle Harris's boobs. I know this is the second or third time I'm gonna mention this, but the lighting and set decoration in this movie is flawless. The bright rays of light breaking through the tree line and the fog are just as good as it gets. So is Sherry Moon Zombie an actual ghost in this? Like, she's a manifestation in Michael's mind, but she can talk to Laurie and they're both conscious of what she's saying? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. And once the helicopter shows up, we still see Kid Michael. Is he a ghost too? I don't get it. Oh my god, what? Look at it. Hey Rob, you look frustrated. What's going on, buddy? I just can't figure out how to end this movie. I have all these ideas, but the thing I keep coming back to is a bunch of cops killing Michael Myers with a lot of guns. Isn't that pretty much exactly how you ended The Devil's Rejects? What? What?
Hold your fire! Hold your fire!
When I bought this movie, I gotta be honest with you guys, I was dreading watching it. It was right after I finished my One Good Scare on Rob Zombie's Halloween, and I really didn't like that one, so I thought this was gonna be even worse. The only time I saw this was when it was in theaters when I was 16 years old, and I didn't know how to appreciate film back then, so when I left the theater, it just wiped from my memory because I was pissed it wasn't a modern retelling of Halloween 2. I watched this movie 3 times for this video, and even after all that, I really did like it a lot, and I wasn't expecting to say that. I don't like how everyone outside of the brackets and Laurie's psychiatrist is white trash mean people. It's a very mean-spirited movie for seemingly no reason, and the white horse stuff is very heavy-handed, but at the end of the day, I think Tyler Mane is a pretty solid Michael Myers. There's some awesome practical kills in this, and this is honestly some of the best shot work on display that Rob Zombie or really any horror director has ever had. And I cannot believe I'm saying this, guys. I really like this movie. I gotta say, it's not making it into the permanent Halloween rotation because there's only 31 days in October, and if I'm picking a Rob Zombie movie to watch every year, it's gonna be The Lords of Salem, but I do have a newfound respect for Halloween 2. Anyways guys, that's it for this episode of One Good Scare. We finally made it to the 3 best Halloween movies. You will see those throughout the rest of the month, and I'm excited to cover them. Let me know what you think of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, whether you prefer the director or theatrical cut, down in the comments below. Anyways guys, my name is Jimmy Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.